Hi everyone, welcome back to Atypical Wealth. This is Aamber Hickman, your South Bay LA Realtor, and I'm here delivering to you, as promised, another market update. And boy, how have things changed in the last 30 days. Let's dive right in. Before we do, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're interested in getting not just a general market update, but a market for your block, your neighborhood, if you're interested in getting a more specific market update, meaning not just Los Angeles, not just Long Beach, whatever city you're in, think about your block, your neighborhood, your home, okay, how things have changed there in your market. If you're wondering about those conditions, talk to me. I'll let you know how to reach out to me at the beginning of the video. I'll let you know how to reach out to me at the end of the video so you can get your own customized market update. Okay, first let's talk about the median home price. We're still floating around that $900,000 mark. That sounds like a lot for buyers. Like, okay, I need $1 million to get a home. Not necessarily. We're talking about the median. There's a lot of high price homes. I just looked at a $28 million home the other day. Tell me how much that's throwing off the numbers, right? Guys, keep in mind, median home price is just a way we can generally measure the metrics. It's not a number you want to base any major decisions off of. But good to see some relative stability in the pricing, although we are seeing increases over time. We are seeing slower growth for the housing market overall. We're not growing at the same rate we used to be. Makes sense, higher interest rates. We're dealing with a completely different economic platform post 2020. I mean, there's a lot happening, and there's also some uncertainty. We have local laws, presidential elections, all of these things tend to affect the housing market. And buyers are just getting a little more cautious out there and, can't necessarily blame them. So slower growth overall, but that's not necessarily bad news for anybody, except realtors, but we'll be all right. Think about yourself. Just to illustrate those higher prices I was telling you about, this is what we're looking at from spring to fall. From spring to fall, we've seen quite a bit of fluctuation here. In May, we see the median home price floating around $885,000, and then all the way to September, we're seeing something closer to $900,000. That's not a little bit of money for the everyday consumer. Let's say that was your actual home payment. Split up over the course of let's say a 30-year loan. It probably won't make or break your bank month to month either. But good to know, good to be aware of the pricing that you're seeing in the market today. For my sellers, this means you're still getting, generally speaking, what you're asking for. Let me show you how. For sale to list ratio, realtors like to take a look at an asking price, and then we like to see month after month, okay, so how much of this asking price are sellers actually getting? How much of the money that they requested is actually landing into their pockets? And right now, the answer is 97%, which means, again, sellers are pretty much getting exactly what they're asking for. But look, there's a little tilt happening right now in that this number is slightly down from August, meaning that sellers were getting even more of what they were asking for, off by like 0.2%. But sellers were getting more last month than they are getting this month. Interesting to see, even with interest rates being lowered. All of this speaks to buyers having just a little bit more negotiating power than what they used to have. That slight tilt in the market is still really saying something. I'm gonna flash to Rocket Homes real quick so I can show you what this looks like. Just last month, this gauge looked very different. Now, according to Rocket Homes in Los Angeles, the market is leaning towards more neutral than anything else. And that's really different from what we've been seeing over the course of the past few months. That means it's no longer a seller's market anymore, not quite a buyer's market anymore. We are shifting right now. Here we can see the economic factors that are easing into the housing market. At the beginning of September, we did see interest rates still at a relatively high point, floating around 6.9, which is not cheap for a lot of consumers out there looking to buy. But since then, the Federal Reserve has announced rate cuts. You won't see them reflected here, but the market has shifted so much since then. Many buyers that were thinking, I'm going to wait on it. I'm going to wait till it's cheaper. There's going to be a better time to buy. They're now about to get off the bench and jump into the ring to buy their homes. That anticipated rate cut did actually happen. The Federal Reserve cut rates by 0.5%, which is not a little bit of money when it comes to your monthly payment. But once again, you time yourself, don't time the market. work with your lender to get a number that you're comfortable paying each month. If you're a potential seller, stay tuned because there's more information relevant to you later on. Okay, good news for us. Inflation is remaining relatively stable and it's creeping closer to the 2% goal that the Federal Reserve, the guys with the keys to the economy, they are creeping closer to 2% inflation, which is their target rate for inflation. They're trying to keep it so that home prices, cars, all of the credit card payments, all of this stuff isn't too overwhelming for the American people to the point where it burdens our entire economy, right? Good news is they are on track to reach their goal, which they're making it easier now for banks to get money, for people to issue home loans. And that means it's going to be cheaper for you to get it, okay? If you're a buyer, good for you. We're seeing a slight decrease in unemployment in California, which is great, but we're still contending with inflated prices. As much as we love to see the rate of inflation has gone down, we're still kind of paying more to begin with. It has not just magically resolved itself yet. And we're unsure if it will, but at least with the housing market, we have tools to work around uncertainty. A big note for my buyers here, it's important to note that most people are falling out of escrow, meaning, hey, they got an offer accepted, they are in negotiations with the seller and their agent perhaps, and then they decided not to go through with the purchase. That's happening mostly because of finances. For some people, it might be a choice. They might be trying to wait it out because, hey, I think interest rates are going to go down pretty soon. They've already gone down since I locked in my rate with my lender. It's best that I pull out of this purchase and then wait for rates to drop a little bit more so that my monthly payment is cheaper. Buyers, I do want to remind you, you date the rate, you marry the home. Controversial opinion amongst realtors, but the fact remains true. The one thing you can't really change very easily is the home that you live in. That's a little bit harder. You have to move, pack up your life, right? But it is easy to change your interest rate so long as you're working with a great lender who can get you qualified for a lower rate. So think about it this way. Your rate can change, harder to change your home. I say go for the home that you love, that you want, that you can afford, right? And then go ahead and refinance your home later on to get a cheaper rate. That's my recipe for success, but ultimately do what you feel most comfortable with. For sellers, it's going to be more important than ever that you're working with a realtor that's amazing at marketing. You don't want to be one of these 22% of homes here that's had to do a price reduction in order to get a home sold. We would love to see you not at 97% sale to list ratio. We would love to see you at 100%. So pricing is important. Sometimes realtors will do this thing where they're like, yeah, Mr. Seller, we can put it on the market for that price, but they know deep down, looking at the comps, looking at the similar homes in the area, the sales that have already happened, they usually know whether or not something is overpriced. I think it's going to be really important for you to work with somebody that tells you not what you want to hear, but what you really need to know in order to have a really, really smooth sale and not have to sign off on that paperwork that says, I'm reducing my price because I was too ambitious or because it's taking too long to sell. We don't want to have to deal with that. Let's just do it right the first time and work with somebody that really knows what they're doing with their marketing, and especially when they're doing their pricing. If you're not sure who can do that for you in your particular market, go ahead and reach out to me and I'll be sure to give you a solid recommendation. We're just getting started with fall, but soon we'll be in those winter months. And typically we do see slower growth, slower sales happening around that time. So if you're a seller, I want you to think about what you really need, right? Think about, is it really the time for you to sell? Not just think about the money, think about what you have going on outside of that. Because I'll tell you right now, just like there's many sellers out there that need to sell, even though it's the holidays and things tend to slow down, there's not as much market activity, there are still buyers out there that maybe missed the boat for fall and really need to get into a home. There's growing families out there. There's people out there with a need for a home. So sellers, I give you the same advice here. I say time yourself, don't time the market. If you can afford to wait until spring, you want to sell when there's more market activity happening in hopes that you get a higher bid for your home. I mean, more power to you. If you have that flexibility, go for it. But if you have a need and it's kind of bothering you that you need to make this move pretty soon and you're on a time crunch, maybe it's retirement, maybe it's your home, like maybe it's your home shrinking a little bit. Maybe you're an empty nester here, the kids are gone off to school, like whatever it is, I mean, just do what's best for you. I always think timing the market is a dangerous game, so stay in your lane and be super comfortable with your decisions. For my buyers out there, interest rates are trending down, which is a great thing for you. This means that your monthly payment could be, depending on where you're at, about $200 a month cheaper than it would have been in spring. Not a little bit of money, that's a big deal. But with that, every buyer tends to think the same way. They're all going to get off the bench at the same time and enter the housing market. Just make sure you're working with your lender to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Don't be afraid to ask your seller for concessions if it makes sense. Keep in mind, buyers, though, when you're asking for concessions, when you're asking the seller, hey, maybe give me a $5,000 in closing costs, whatever it is that you need from them. It's still kind of a hot housing market. We're in Los Angeles. We're in Los Angeles County. So just be judicious about how much you're willing to give in order to get into that home of yours. Hopefully it's your dream home. Work with your agent on the best course of action because they should be able to advise you on what to do and what not to do. Ultimately knowing that it's 100% up to you. My advice for buyers is to get in where you fit in when you can, okay? You're ready to buy now, buy now. Don't wait on like a 0.25% drop, a 0.5% drop, because you can refinance later on, right? Remember, you're marrying the home, you date the rate. I'm gonna leave you with another interesting fact here. Inventory in Los Angeles is rising. That means more people are selling, okay? This is good news for would-be home buyers, and it's gonna be a little tougher out there competition-wise for sellers. So keep that in mind, sellers. You don't really want to wait if you need to sell, and working with your agent to get the right price the first time is your smoothest path to success. In the luxury market, we are still seeing slower sales. We see new taxes being issued on the luxury market. If you're selling that home that's over $1 million, again, just make sure you're pricing it right the first time. We're going to see even more shifts happening in the next few months with rates trending down. Interest rates haven't gone down in quite a long time for us, so everyone's excited to finally make their moves. So buyers, this could be your time. Just come ready, come financially set. Sellers, you sell when you need to sell. Don't try to time anything else. Do what's best for you. And of course, I'm here to help you each and every step of the way. I work with both buyers and sellers here in the Los Angeles, South Bay area. I do so much business in the South Bay because that's where I'm from. That's what I love. But hey, I live in Los Angeles and I know it well. So, I mean, the best of both worlds between these two areas, honestly. And if you're in the greater California area or anywhere across these great United States, I would love to refer you to someone who can keep all of these market insights that you and I have gone over today in their minds, keeping you first so that no matter if you're a buyer or seller, they're really going to advocate for you and do what's best for you, because that's what I would do for you. So I would never refer you to anyone that would do anything less. I hope you're having an amazing week. I'll see you on the next market update.